Essay pleasure to accompany you in today. March 16, 2025, the day that seemed ordinary until four Italian scholars stepped onto the stage at an international press conference and revealed a discovery that stunned the world. They didn't bring vague theories or outdated speculations. Instead, they presented results from advanced ground-penetrating radar technology combined with data from the most modern satellite. The target of the investigation, the Khufu Pyramid at Giza, one of the most mysterious structures on the planet. The results: 8 vertical shafts, up to 648 meters deep, surpassing the height of the Shanghai Tower, the world's third tallest building. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. At the bottom of these shafts, they discovered two massive rectangular spaces, 80 meters long and 75 meters high. Like two giant water reservoirs hidden nearly 700 meters underground. Why are there such huge reservoirs beneath the Great Pyramid? Who built them and for what purpose? Could this be a place storing something beyond our understanding of the ancient Egyptian civilization? Or is the entire Khufu Pyramid not a tomb, but a gateway, leading to something humanity has never known? The truth is gradually emerging, and it could change how we view human history. At the press conference, technology expert Filippo explained that they used SAR technology, synthetic aperture radar. The type of satellite imagery that uses radar waves to map the Earth's surface. This radar detected a series of puzzling hollow spaces spread throughout the ground beneath the Giza Plateau, resembling a buried underground city. However, the penetration capability of this radar is still limited. To overcome this weakness, the research team collected data on internal movements within the pyramid based on background seismic waves from the survey area. They combined this micro-movement data with the initial radar data, then used specialized processing software to perform deep scans and map the internal and subsurface structure of the pyramid. Thanks to this new technology, the true mystery of the pyramid is slowly being revealed. Before unveiling the mystery, let's see who the four members of the research team present at this press conference are. Among the four, 3 are doctors and 1 is a spokesperson. Leading the team is Grado, who holds a doctorate in applied chemistry and fundamental physics. Next is Mili, an Egyptology scholar with a doctorate in history. The radar technology expert is Filippo, and finally, Ms. Nicolai, who's in charge of communication and organizing this entire press conference. Next, let's delve into the specific findings that the research team has announced. As we know, there are 3 pyramids on the Giza Plateau. Usually, the public is only familiar with the Khufu Pyramid in the north, famous for having a very large burial chamber. From this, archaeologists concluded that the pyramid was a resting place for kings. However, the Khafra Pyramid in the central position is the most magnificent structure. Although only 136 meters tall, because it's built on a high stone base, it looks very grand. Here, the famous Sphinx statue is also a structure associated with this pyramid. The most notable feature of the Khafra Pyramid is the capstone on its summit. The original white limestone casing of this pyramid has not completely eroded to this day. As construction, the ancient Egyptians may have possessed more advanced building techniques than during Khufu. And the national power was stronger then. They seemed to want to display great power and authority through this structure. However, when compared to the interior of the Khufu Pyramid, the internal structure of Khafra is extremely simple. It only has a small burial chamber and a corridor, completely incomparable to the complexity of the Khufu Pyramid. Why is that? This is a question that the archaeological community has long been unable to explain. But this time, the research team has brought forth new discoveries that are truly astonishing. As data, inside the Khafra Pyramid, there actually exist structures similar to the cave. Moreover, there are large corridors connecting these structures. If this is true, it can only be concluded that in over 200 years since the West rediscovered the pyramids in the 19th century, no one has ever discovered this spatial system, or if discovered, intentionally concealed it. Remember, just one burial chamber and one corridor in the Khufu pyramid have spawned countless theories, such as the piezoelectric theory, water pump theory, siphon theory, all causing headaches. Setting those theories aside, another equally important detail was revealed at the press conference, which is that if the 5 burial chambers in the Khafre pyramid truly exist, it's almost certain the pyramid is not a tomb, because it's impossible for a king to divide himself into 5 parts to be buried in 5 different rooms. In the case of the Great Pyramid, one could explain one chamber for the king and one for the queens. But in this case, could it be 1 king and 4 queens? The data also shows 80 vertical shafts underground with clearly visible spiral shapes in a 3D model. At the press conference, Egyptologists immediately pointed out that the characteristics of these vertical shafts are completely unlike any known structures in traditional Egyptian archaeology. Instead, they appear in the San Patrick well system in Italy, a hydraulic structure built during the Middle Ages. Its name comes from a cave in Ireland, St. Patrick's Purgatory, where legend says anyone jumping down would go straight to hell. Additionally, a similar structure was found at the stepwell of Dadari in Bengusarat, India, built in the 15th century. However, considering all of Egypt, such architectural style remains unique to this day. And if these are truly vertical shafts, it would lead to an extremely difficult technical problem that has never been adequately explained. How did the ancient Egyptians ensure such vertical shafts wouldn't collapse? Just like how people today dig wells, vertical shafts need to be reinforced with stone. Otherwise, the deeper they go, the greater the wall weight and the higher the risk of collapse. Yet these 8 vertical shafts are as deep as 648 meters, a figure that's hard to imagine. How to dig so deep? How to reinforce them? The research team also admits it's hard to imagine. Therefore, many netizens have begun proposing unusual hypotheses. T-vertical shafts, but a type of giant antenna mast, similar to famous bas-reliefs where it. The pyramids are actually just the tip of a giant pillar protruding from the ground. Others let their imagination run even wilder, suggesting perhaps this is a type of giant star. Even one netizen created a fully scaled model rendering showing the entire structure looks like a giant toy waiting to pop open. At the bottom of the 8 shafts, at a depth of 700 meters, are 2 extremely large rectangular spaces, each 80 meters long and 75 meters high. What are they? No one can provide an answer. With such depth, even modern technology would struggle to build them. How to excavate the earth, how to reinforce the walls, how to transport materials, all are tough questions. Could it be that they rely solely on 80 vertical shafts, going straight up and down like elevators, to Even when excavating imperial tombs in China, at just 30 to 40 meters depth, they needed 4 wide underground passages and numerous auxiliary areas to move earth and rocks. But here, if 2 giant 700 meters deep underground spaces truly existed, after thousands of years, they should have collapsed by now. T collapsed, it. In a 1996 documentary by Dr. Zahi Hawass, director of Egyptian antiquities, and his film crew at the Osirian site, there, just 30 meters below ground, a structure called the Osirion's crown was completely submerged in groundwater. According to Dr. Hawass himself, currently, the groundwater level has risen another 7 to 8 meters. Everything underground has been flooded. Thus, the radar detecting spaces at 700 meters depth underground truly makes people skeptical. Had they all been covered by groundwater long ago, and if so, why haven't they collapsed? Below those giant rectangular spaces, at about 600 meters depth, radar data also recorded a series of structures crisscrossing vertically and horizontally. Notably, these structures appear not only under the Khafre pyramid's base but extend across the entire Giza plateau, meaning under all three major pyramids. So, what are these things? At the press conference, Egyptologist Mealy proposed a rather bold hypothesis. Could these underground structures be related to the underworld described in the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead? This sacred book revealed the Egyptians' concept of life and death. Similar to many other cultures, that deep underground exists a world of souls called Duat, where deceased souls are judged. S hard on a scale, with the feather of the truth goddess Ma. If the heart is lighter than the feather, the soul is allowed to enter the afterlife. If that hypothesis is correct, could those two giant rectangular halls be a place where hearts are laid? And going down another 600 meters, about 1.2 kilometers underground, could that be the real underworld city in legends? Is the Book of the Dead describing an actual system, where ancient Egyptians truly built an underground soul transit technology? The above are the four major discoveries the research team announced at the academic conference. Many might wonder, if verification is needed, what's so difficult? Just dig down to know truth from falsehood. But the problem lies exactly here. This is the person nicknamed the Screaming Minister, who appears every time Egypt is mentioned. None other than Dr. Zahi Hawass, famous not only for his role as Director of Antiquities, but also for his explosive debates and reactions whenever someone mentions unusual hypotheses about ancient Egypt. For example, the famous 1992 Gantenbrink door incident, when an exploration robot discovered a small door with bronze handles deep inside a hidden corridor within the pyramid. That time, Zahi seemed to overreact and was consequently forced to resign. But not long after, he returned to the archaeological scene thanks to the incident involving Dr. Shah, a talented young geologist. In 1996, Shah surveyed the Sphinx and proposed the hypothesis that the statue had been eroded by water, from which he inferred it might have existed for 9,000 years, a hypothesis that shocked the archaeological community. Zahi Hawass at that time launched full-scale attacks, labeling him as pseudo-scientific, and thus he was reinstated. In general, anyone presenting views contrary to mainstream academia, Zahi Hawass would not allow them to touch archaeology. He will attack fiercely, labeling them as pseudoscientists, exposing their names like society and using those tactics as an effective and familiar suppression tool. So, this time, faced with the Society Discovery event by the four-person research team, how did Zahi react? Were they truly pseudoscientists as he claimed? Let's examine the arguments between the supporting and opposing sides. 6 days after the press conference, on March 22nd, Zahi arrogantly posted an article on his personal Facebook page, declaring it was fake news created by an amateur group. He asserted that all the information they provided was inaccurate, without any scientific basis, and that the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities of Egypt did not permit any organization to conduct surveys inside and outside the Khafre pyramid. Therefore, he concluded that their use of radar inside the pyramid was completely untrue. Additionally, he claimed that the technology they used was unverified, unapproved, and the details they obtained would never be published. S. rebuttal. Clearly, he didn't. They never brought radar equipment into the pyramid but used data from SAR satellites in background seismic waves, completely avoiding physical access to the structure. So why did Zahi insist they had used radar inside? In fact, even before Zahi spoke up, many had questioned, if this was serious scientific research, why hold such a sensational press conference? Pyramid and Time Gate. The moment has come, it. S. harsh statements, especially his remark that the details would never be published, we can somewhat understand the research team. Could it be that they had once followed the orthodox academic path, submitted papers, waited, but were then rejected and ignored? Could that be why they were forced to choose such a high-profile method of announcement to attract attention? One critic noted that the research team's paper was too long, clearly written in a hurry. The table titles, citations, and formatting were full of errors, making the analysis confusing and very difficult to understand. The research results and analysis quality had many shortcomings and needed significant revision to meet the standards for publication in a serious scientific journal. On March 21st, another figure, a scientist famous for his hypothesis that the Egyptian pyramids were designed for industrial-scale chemical production, also joined the opposition. At first glance, it seemed he would side with the research team as they both pursued non-traditional theories. But no, he specifically made a separate video to refute this group, calling them too amateur. He pointed out that even in their 2022 paper, the team made a basic mistake by writing that the pyramid was built from 2.5-ton granite blocks. In reality, most of the pyramid's structure is built from limestone, with granite used only in special parts like a king's burial chamber, main corridors, and stone sarcophagi. Not stopping there, he presented a comparison image between the actual photo of the Khufu pyramid and the team's radar scan. In the radar image, the right edge clearly shows a boundary, but the left edge is completely missing. The voids inside the pyramid were also not accurately measured. If this is just an error, it's clearly too large. Because the most controversial image is the one showing radar bright spots, it hardly matches any part of the pyramid's actual structure. Moreover, he turned to criticize the technical report the team released. When checking the scan maps in the report, he discovered a major issue. According to the cross-section in the map, the base of the Khufu pyramid should have many chamber-like structures of various shapes. However, the satellite scan published by the team showed no trace of these structures. And those structures aren't imaginary, because as early as 1818, the group of Italian explorers, fellow countrymen of the research team, had entered and fully documented them. So why, with such modern technology, couldn't they detect what people had seen over 200 years ago? This person's critique is very serious. It directly denies the accuracy of the radar scanning technique the team used. And if we examine the 2022 paper separately, indeed, those criticisms have some validity. However, some argue that radar scanning technology shouldn't. Like using CT scans to detect tumors, it's not always possible to see every detail 100% clearly. In fact, in their 2002 paper, the team managed to scan the structure of the king's burial chamber in the Khufu pyramid quite accurately. It's very possible that this scan but they still reflect that something unusual exists beneath it. By March 22nd, a female fan named Jana managed to contact the fifth member of the research team, Radzi. He is someone who long believed that beneath Giza exists a massive submerged world. The underground world. Secrets of Giza. Therefore, his perspective aligns well with the research team's arguments this time, and he secretly became a key supporter behind the entire group. The technical report published by the team was first posted through his social media account. Radzi acts like the team's external mouthpiece, an unofficial but very active spokesperson. He even proposed bold hypotheses that the pyramid is actually a form of energy generator. And the corridors, voids, and peculiar structures we see are internal components of that machine. Many people expressed agreement with the hypotheses put forward by the research team. However, when female host Jana directly interviewed Ratsi, who is considered a member of the group, everything seemed to start unraveling. Jana asked whether the group could once again prove or demonstrate how they discovered the underground structures. Because the 3D models they published were truly overwhelming, reproducing the process from scratch would be even more convincing. "These images are truly unbelievable," Jana said. Ratsi hastily replied that it was possible, as it was the same method they used in their 2002 research. But clearly, Jana was asking about the ability to prove it directly again, not about citing old articles as a way to evade. Jana then suggested whether the group could make a short video of about half an hour simply explaining their technology and discoveries. Ratsi answered that he didn't have any official channel, but there were already many videos online. Jana appeared dissatisfied and said that she had watched those videos but all were in Italian. "Is there an English version?" she asked. Ratsi replied, "There will be later." Jana could only force a smile. "Okay, The article's author further commented that while writing these lines, the 4-hour press conference entirely in Italian was truly exhausting. And perhaps, Jana felt the same way. Jana continued asking whether the group would upload clearer explanatory videos in the upcoming days. Ratsi answered that unfortunately, because his computer was broken, he couldn't upload anything more. "If the computer hadn't died, I could have uploaded more videos." It sounded so strange that it made listeners frown and doubt the entire group's research. The matter had now started to turn into an online controversy zone, being dissected by netizens. For example, someone pointed out that the research group's microenvironment chemistry PhD Grego was actually just a lecturer in the organic chemistry department at Pisa University. It's very likely he never even received a PhD. Because he had achievements like Galileo, but because he often proposed theories as bold as Galileo. What's even more interesting is that during the press conference, Grego showed a photo claimed to be of the famous underground city Derinkuyu in Turkey, but netizens quickly recognized. It was actually a map from the role-playing game Endragon from 2007, even clearly labeled with magic towers and war towers. That unprofessional test was hard to accept. Next is Professor Filippo, the group's radar expert from Strathclyde University in Scotland, the main technical figure. It seems he's the only one in the group with truly notable real achievements. In 2021, he used SAR technology to assess the impact of North Korea's nuclear test. In 2002, used SAR to stand volcanoes. In 2004, used SAR to measure river water levels. But others questioned that if his SAR technology combined with seismic waves was truly that effective, why hadn't he used it for larger research projects? Next is Egyptologist Neely, from the History Department of Ferdinand Kahai University in Nepal. In recent years, he published articles like the first anti-gravity device of ancient Egypt, Khufu. Hidden Messages in the K4 Pyramid, Ancient Horde Tools and Divine Energy Tools, 2 astronomical maps over 100,000 years old. At first glance, it seems academic, but looking closely, it doesn't resemble the work of a serious Egyptology expert. And finally, the strangest character is the group's spokesperson, Mrs. Nicola. Her main job is actually as a handwriting forensic examination expert. She often collaborates with prosecution offices in many cities in Italy, specializing in cases involving document forgery and wills. Her most notable achievement was participating in the examination of Mussolini's diary 20 years ago and confirming it was a fake document. But what do these things have to do with Egyptian archaeology? Why did she jump to being spokesperson for a pyramid research group? From all these points, netizens began to suspect. A research group seemingly patched together from such unrelated, could they really unveil the 1,000-year mystery of the pyramids? What are the motives and purposes behind that grand announcement? Are they playing with their own reputation? However, it must be said that they aren't completely amateurish. completely without foundation. Therefore, this entire incident exudes an indescribable mysterious aura. Despite currently facing a storm of online criticism, they are under heavy fire. Despite intense public debate, the research team still asserts that ultimately, the data will speak for itself. They stated they are actively seeking permission from the Egyptian Archaeology Department to conduct limited surveys in some areas to verify their findings. Simultaneously, they plan to publish an online special book detailing the entire process and exploring the underground space beneath the pyramid. Many netizens supporting the research team also pointed out that back in May 2004, another archaeological team of Japanese experts in Ica also discovered an unusual underground structure near the pyramid complex. This structure is only 2 meters below ground, L-shaped, and located west of the Khufu pyramid, where the surface is entirely flat with no special signs. However, when the team used radar to survey, they unexpectedly found the structure's shape too precise to be a natural formation. This L-shaped structure is 10 meters long, 15 meters wide, and beneath it lies a deeper layer, likely an unknown tomb. But when they proposed excavation, no permits were granted. Looking back, this isn't the first time IDEP has rejected research efforts. Do you remember the 1993 incident involving Dr. Salk, who caused a stir by proposing a water erosion theory, suggesting the space is over 9,000 years? At that time, Zahi Hawass, the Minister of Antiquities, was forced to temporarily feign it, leading the film crew to shoot an Osiris performance in a peace boat. But when the performance reached a scene with a tunnel leading deep inside, he stood blocking the tunnel entrance and they finished exploring this tunnel, so I donned. But I always say one thing, you'll never know the secrets hidden in the sand and Icab tunnels. Yes, he himself said, you'll never know what Icab is hiding in the sand and tunnels. So, could it be that the head of Icab long ago decided to conceal part of the truth from the public? Many believe Zahi is like an awkward curtain, pulled to one side, then covering the other. But never letting anyone see what's truly there. Like a 2015 debate between him and researcher Graham Hancock. When a woman in the audience asked about Göbekli Tepe, a shocking archaeological discovery in Turkey, whether it affects our understanding of Ica. What? Where? Turkey? Then, he mumbled a few words and returned to his seat, clearly unfamiliar with the site. That moment left the audience silent in awkwardness. Graham Hancock quickly stepped in, sharing more information about Göbekli Tepe. Cameras even caught Zahi Hawass wiping his forehead and showing constant confusion. When asked about radar, Zahi answered, I don't believe in radar because I always use radar in my work. But it has never helped me discover anything new. A contradictory statement. If radar is useless, why does he keep using it? It's fair to say, in that debate, Zahi lost, and this time, facing another media bombshell. Those familiar with him and the Egyptian Antiquities Department are whether the research team is truly wrong, or just because they touched on something they shouldn't have. Even if the team's hypothesis about 80 spirals in a 1,200 meters deep underground city may be inaccurate, the fierce reactions to silence them don't resemble normal academic discussion. It smacks of the organized information suppression Zahi has been skilled at for years. And if there's truly nothing to hide, why not allow the team to conduct the survey? As they themselves said, let the data prove everything. As many have frankly stated, beneath ACAB there are indeed things that cannot be disclosed. In your opinion, what is really beneath the pyramid? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comment section. Please subscribe to the Shadow_Archives channel and turn on notification. And now, goodbye and see you again. Subscribe to the EAEO channel so you don't miss exciting videos.